Can I tell you something a little embarrassing? For years, I only counted 30 minutes a day as real English practice. The other 16 waking hours, I just called that life.
Wait, 16 hours?
16 hours, every single day, and I wasn't using any of it.
How does that even happen?
Because I had this rule in my head. If I wasn't sitting down, notebook open, eyes on a page, then it didn't count as studying. It had to look like studying to count.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty normal.
It felt normal, but it meant I was ignoring 16 hours of practice every single day for years.
16 hours you were just throwing away.
Every day, right there, and I wasn't using any of it. Welcome to Easy English with PJ, real English for real life. I'm PJ, and with me, as always, is Logan.
And I've been making the same mistake with Spanish, so I genuinely need to hear this.
Let's get into it. So, if I was ignoring 16 hours a day, the next question is obvious. Where were those hours actually hiding? Let's start with the one you're stuck in every single day, the commute.
Okay, I'm on board already.
Most people commute. Bus, train, car, subway. And they spend that time scrolling, checking the news in their own language, sometimes just staring at nothing.
Guilty. Every morning.
Here's what I want you to picture instead. You're on the subway. You've got 20 minutes. You pull out your phone, not to scroll, but to listen to one podcast episode in English. Not a learning podcast, just any show in English about something you actually like. Sports, cooking, true crime, business, anything.
But what if you don't understand most of it?
That's fine. Your brain is still working. It's still hearing the rhythm of the language, the way sentences end, where people pause. A woman named Keiko told me she used to listen to an American cooking show on her train ride for 3 months. She understood maybe 40% at first. By the end, she was catching jokes.
Jokes are hard.
Jokes are the hardest because you have to understand the context and the punchline at the same time. She got there because her ears had been in English every single morning, not at a desk, on a train.
So the commute is actually one of the easiest places to start because you're already stuck there.
You're already there. You've already blocked the time without realizing it. And that's the whole idea. English doesn't need a special seat. It just needs the spaces you're already in. You already have the time, and it's not just what you let into your ears. There's something you're already holding all day that can do this too. Logan, you actually did something with your phone a while back.
Oh, the Spanish thing. Yeah, I changed my phone language to Spanish for a month.
Tell them what happened.
So, okay. My first thought when someone suggested this was, that's going to be annoying. Like, I'm going to miss notifications and mess up settings and just be frustrated all the time.
And?
The first 2 days were a little annoying. But by day 3, I had basically figured out where everything was. And then the weird part happened. I started seeing Spanish maybe 200 times a day without doing anything extra. Every time I checked the time, every alert, every app name, it was just there.
Without sitting down.
Without sitting down. Without opening a notebook. Without any kind of schedule. The language was just in my peripheral vision constantly.
And the thing that makes this work is repetition without effort. You're not trying to memorize the word for notifications, but you see it so many times that eventually it just lives in your head without you pushing it there.
I want to be clear, though. This alone didn't make me fluent. But it changed how familiar Spanish felt. Like it stopped feeling foreign.
That's the shift, foreign to familiar. And familiar is where real progress starts. If English still feels like a foreign language every time you see it, that's a signal you're only meeting it at your desk. Start meeting it everywhere else too. It doesn't have to be intentional every minute to count. Quick question. Have you ever actually changed your phone's language to English?
Me? No, never even crossed my mind.
That's hundreds of tiny exposures a day, just sitting there, unused. So far, everything we've covered is English coming in, through your ears on the commute, through your eyes on your phone. But there's a flip side to this. Here's the one that people think sounds a little strange.
Oh.
Talking to yourself, out loud, in English, while you're cooking, doing dishes, getting ready in the morning.
Okay, that does sound a little unhinged.
A little.
I'll give you that.
But here's why it works. When you practice English only in conversations, you're trying to think and talk at the same time, under pressure, with another person watching. It's a lot. When you practice alone, no pressure, no audience, your brain can actually build the muscle before it needs to perform.
So it's like a rehearsal.
It's exactly like a rehearsal. A guy named Marcos started narrating his morning routine in English, not teaching it, not recording it, just talking to himself while he made coffee. He'd say something like, "Okay, I'm out of milk again. I need to remember to pick some up after work." Just out loud, just to himself, in English.
That's actually kind of genius because the situation is real. The milk is actually gone.
That's the whole thing. The situation is real. The words are connected to a real moment, not a textbook exercise. After 6 weeks, Marcos said something happened that surprised him. He was on a call with an American client, and a phrase came out, naturally, without searching for it, that he had been saying to himself in the kitchen for weeks.
The rehearsal became the real thing.
Without him even noticing. And that's how it works. You can't schedule that moment, but you can build it. One morning, one kitchen, 10 minutes of talking to yourself at a time. Input only gets you halfway there. At some point, it has to come back out. Kitchen practice covers speaking, but there's a listening side to this too, and Logan basically owns this one.
Can I take this one? Because I think I did this wrong for a long time.
Go ahead.
So I used to watch shows in English with subtitles, English subtitles, and I thought I was practicing. But looking back, I was reading, not listening. My eyes were doing all the work and my ears were just, background.
What changed?
I turned the subtitles off for 5 minutes at a time. Just 5. And I felt the difference immediately. My ears actually had to work. I had to guess from the actors' faces, from the music, from the situation, not just from the text at the bottom of the screen.
And what happened over time?
I started catching things I never knew I was missing, like the way someone sounds annoyed even when they're saying something technically polite, or the way a sentence goes up at the end when someone is nervous. I wasn't getting that from subtitles. I was getting the words, not the feeling.
The feeling is the real English.
Yeah, and honestly, this is not about watching more TV. I'm not saying sit there for 4 hours. I'm saying the next time you're going to watch anyway, turn the subtitles off for the first 5 minutes. See what your ears catch on their own.
And if you miss something important, turn them back on. No rules. Just let your ears work first.
Exactly. Start with 5 minutes. Then maybe 10. Your ears usually improve faster than you think.
A learner named Sophia told me she watched the same 10-minute scene from her favorite American show 4 times in 1 week. First with English subtitles, then without. By the 4th time, she was catching things she hadn't even noticed the first time.
The same 10 minutes. 4 different experiences.
Because each time her ears were a little more ready, and she didn't need extra hours. She needed the same scene, more deeply. That's not a study session. That's just watching something you like. Turns out listening and reading are two different skills.
Agree or disagree? You don't have time to practice English. Say your answer out loud right now. We'll come back to that.
So far, every one of these needed something. A podcast, a phone setting, a kitchen, a show. But there's one kind of moment that doesn't need any of that at all.
The moments where you're just standing there doing nothing.
Exactly. Last one. And it might be the simplest of all.
Doing nothing on purpose sounds like the opposite of practice.
It does, until you see what actually happens in those moments. All the small moments. Standing in line at the grocery store, waiting for an elevator, walking to your car. We treat those moments like they're nothing. But add them up, and that's 40, 50 minutes a day.
That's almost as long as a real study session.
It is. And here's the simplest thing you can do in those moments. Think in English. Not study, not quiz yourself. Just take whatever you're already thinking and try it in English. You're looking at the cereal and thinking, I always buy this, but I don't even really like it. Say that in English, in your head or out loud if nobody's around.
So the goal is just to make English the language your thoughts live in?
Not all day. Not yet. Just invite it into the quiet moments. Let it be there when there's nothing else demanding your attention. Because here's the truth. Fluency isn't built in one long study session. It's built in 100 small moments you stopped counting as practice.
And those moments are already there. Every single day. At some point, the goal stops being studying. It just becomes living with English in the room.
We started today with a pretty embarrassing confession. 16 hours of my day, and I was calling 30 minutes of it practice, and calling the rest just life, because it didn't look like studying.
And the shift is realizing the rest is practice too.
The commute, the kitchen, the show you're going to watch anyway, the line at the grocery store, you're not trying to turn your whole life into a classroom. You're just noticing that it already is. Every one of those is a moment, and moments are what fluency is actually made of.
Remember that agree or disagree question from before? I would have agreed with you at the start of this that I don't have time. Now I can't really say that.
That's the thing. The time was always there. You just weren't counting it. It still doesn't look like studying, but it's probably where most of the learning happens.
Here's what we want you to do before tomorrow morning. Pick one thing from today. Just one.
Change your phone language to English. Narrate 2 minutes of your morning routine out loud. Or put on 5 minutes of something in English on the way to work. One thing. Before tomorrow.
And tell us in the comments, which one did you pick and what happened? Did something surprise you? Was it harder than you thought? We want to know. Drop it below.
If this episode changed how you think about your practice time, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. New episodes every week, all built for real life.
And share this with someone you know who keeps saying they're too busy to practice English. Show them this episode. The time is already there.
And remember, your English doesn't need more hours. It needs more moments.
So the next time you think you don't have time, look at what you're already doing.
Catch you in the next episode.